All right, everyone. Val's refreshing and trying again. Yes, indeed. Hopefully you can see me. Yay! Awesome. All right, folks. Welcome in to another Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. I am your host this morning for challenge number 8. And my name is Voodoo Val, and I'm totally wearing shoulder pads today. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I feel pretty great. I feel super villainous today, as one should when wearing shoulder pads from the 80s. Yes, there we go. All right, cool. Also, hopefully we're not having any outtake behind the scenes issues with our music today drowning me out. Camilo, hello. Sam, Tim, Muhammad, Larry, it's good to see you all. Valdare, hello. Pokehan, hello. But yes, so real quick, I'm going to jump into our challenge real quick right after I kind of show off the Daily Creative Challenge page for those of you who've never participated in the challenges and don't know exactly what is going on. I'm going to pan over here real quick. If you head over to behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, it'll take you to the Daily Creative Challenge page. And you can scroll down through here, get a few steps on how the challenge works. You can scroll through here and see all of the challenges we've done thus far, as well as get the brand new challenge that is available to you every morning. We're on our second to last challenge for this 2-week period, and then we're going to jump into some new challenges with somebody else after that. I'm going to be sad to see you guys from the chat only and not from the stream, but maybe I'll be back in the future, and you guys will have another awesome, super cool instructor after me. But yeah, today we're going to be doing a challenge called the Items of Winterfell. We're going to be weathering some cool text, similar to how we weathered text yesterday, except we're going to make it look a little grittier instead of more comical and super cool Back to the Future-esque. And we're also going to weather some items as well. So definitely head over here if you'd like to join the Discord as well. You guys can click the community chat button as well as the join us button down at the bottom of the page and join the Discord, where you folks can be sharing your challenge entries and get feedback from me, from our mentors, and also from the community. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into the challenge here right quick. Let me pull my Photoshop up. So this is what I've got. I'm sure you guys have noticed I start with a lot of backgrounds because I never like to work on white space, you know, because it feels a little intimidating to me. So I've got this cool texture-y thing going on here, and I'm going to jump right into setting up our file similar to how we did yesterday before we start adding our little twists on it. So I'm going to hit T on my keyboard here to pull up my text file or text tool. I'm going to click in the center here, and I'm going to type out House of Lions. That's my phrase I'm going to use today. So I'm going to say House of Lions, like that. And as you guys can see, this is totally the Game of Thrones font. And the Game of Thrones font literally is just called Game of Thrones if you're interested in finding it for yourself online. And I'm going to change the size of this down to something a little smaller because I kind of want to make it a little fancier instead of just straight text that's all the same. And I'm even going to come into our characters panel and elongate the word lions to kind of match how wide the word house is. And remember, if you don't see the character panel on your layout, you can go up to window and scroll down to character, and it will open the character panel for you. And then you can move it around to wherever you want it to be moved to. And I'm going to just come in here if I hover over this, you guys can see what I'm working with. It's the tracking for the characters. And I'm going to, let's see. You know, it's already on 100 here, so I think maybe I'm just going to turn the rest of this down. I'm going to grab house, I'm going to put that on 0. There we go, kind of bump it in a little bit there. So then lions and house are typically the same. And that looks pretty cool. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transform this into a smart object, like we did. And I'm going to turn the fill all the way down on this. And then I'm going to duplicate it twice. And I'm going to duplicate that by going Control J. and Control J again, and then I'm going to rename these so I know exactly what they are. So I'm going to say color, boom, and I'm also going to say emboss. Emboys is what I wrote that first time there. All right, so I'm going to bump House of Lions up above here. And so now that we've duplicated this smart object, even though you can't see it, we've got 3 smart objects that are exactly the same. And all of the settings I apply to them are going to apply to the same original smart object layer, which is pretty cool. So for our color here, I'm going to go ahead and overlay kind of a gold color. And I'm actually going to, I have this pretty nifty little lion piece here that I kind of want to match with my text. So I'm going to actually drag him in here first, just so that I have him here, because I want to make my text match this lion. So I'm going to double click my color layer like that. Remember to double click the actual layer space outside of the text, because if you double click the text, it'll just have you rename the layer, and that's not what we want to do. So I'm going to bump this over here so I can see, and then I'm going to come over here to color overlay, and I'm going to go ahead and click that. And it's actually already on like kind of a nice goldish color, but I might want to make that a little bit brighter, just like that, just so that it's definitely kind of the same as our lion, like that. And then I might even put kind of an outer glow on it, like a dark outer glow. That's very subtle, and it even has some noise on it like I like, but if you want to change the color of yours, all you have to do is click there and come in and edit things the way you prefer, and then go ahead and hit OK. So now that we have our color, I'm going to close our little bracket here to hide that. Keep your workspace clean. It's very, very useful. I myself am not always the kind of person that names my layers and organizes stuff in folders while I'm working, but I've been trying to get better at it, and I promise you guys it is the greatest thing to look over and be able to actually understand what you're doing with your layers and not have to toggle them on and off to figure out what exactly you did on them. So next, we're going to do a little bit of embossing. So I'm going to double click that and pull up our thing here. And I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to zoom in so that I can really see the detail of the text while I'm working on this here. I'm going to hit bevel and emboss. And I'm going to, let's see, I kind of want to put this on chisel hard, and then I'm going to increase the depth here. And I'm going to increase the size as well, because I want it to look like gold, like this has actually, you know, been carved out of solid gold, kind of a Lannister-y type vibe going on here. And next, I'm going to kind of change the angle of this a little bit because I want the shadows and highlights to be pretty dramatic. And then I'm going to edit the shadows and highlights themselves over here just to make everything very bright. Where the lights are, and then pretty dark where the darks are as well, because that gives it more of that pretty crazy gold feel. And then I'm even going to edit the gloss contour. I like this this one here, second from the bottom, because it makes it look really like, you know, like gold. As you can see, that totally changed if we go back and forth between the two. It really makes it look like real gold. But if you want to choose another one, you can, or you can just click the icon there, and you can actually come in here and edit this however you please, because you might want something a little bit different than I do. So I'm going to leave mine like that, and then now, let's see, I'm going to hit OK. And now I have some pretty cool golden text, and it looks neat, and you can leave it this way, but I think it would be even cooler if we experimented with actually bringing in some textures to this. So I'm going to make it look a bit weathered with some metal textures, and then I'm also going to do the same thing to our lion here to make it look like it's like kind of battle worn. So I'm going to zoom out in order to do this. I'm going to hide all of the stuff we've done on the embossed layer, just like that. And then I think technically you could do this by doing what we did yesterday with our pattern for the center of our 80s retro wave stuff, you could technically duplicate one of these and then go in and hit pattern overlay, and then you could select a metal texture here and put it on. Like that even looks pretty cool. It's got like a metal texture overlaid in there, and then you could, if we open that again, you could actually come in here and put the blend mode on something else, you know, and make it look pretty cool. But I want it to look more like gold and less like iron. So I'm going to just do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to hide that. I'm going to say okay. And I'm going to overlay some textures. So I am going to, above everything here, I'm going to hold Control, and I'm going to click the image of my text here. And then I am going to go Control-Shift-In to make a new layer. And I'm going to, let's actually open our texture here. I'm gonna double click this image to open it. This is kind of a cool metal texture. I'm gonna go Control A to select my entire canvas, and Control C to copy. And then I'm gonna toggle back over here, and I'm gonna do a paste into selection to paste only directly into the selection that I've got selected right now. And the hotkey for that is Control-Shift-Alt-V. Kind of a long one. But that is what it will look like right there, and you can see I've got the just the selection filled with this, and then if I go Control T to transform, I can just move that texture in with everything right there. I'm gonna right click and go flip horizontal because the light is hitting our lion piece up there from the right, and I'd like the light hitting our text from the right as well. So I'm gonna hit enter. I'm gonna zoom in here so I can see the texture closely, and I think I'm even going to, as textury as that is, I think I'm going to go Control L for layers and make it a bit more dramatic, like so. Just kind of bring that in and make those textures really dramatic, like that. I'm gonna hit OK, and then I'll put this on a blending mode. You folks can put it on whatever blending mode you think looks the best for you. I think, let's see, hard light could work, or overlay. Overlay looks pretty cool because it just gives, like in the darks there, it gives that subtle kind of scratchy feel. And then I'm going to duplicate this a few times and move the texture around because it's cool just to overlay one, but I kind of like those midtones in this texture, and that's kind of all I'd like to apply. So I'm going to put this down like so because I like what that looks like right there. And I'm going to take my eraser and kind of erase out. So if I click E, it'll bring my eraser up. If you don't see the cursor for your eraser or your brush tool, you probably have caps locks on. So I'm going to hit caps locks because there it is, like that. And I'm going to just kind of tap in here and remove some of the edge there. And then I'm going to go Control J and duplicate that. And it's still my paste into layer. So it's still taking the shape of my text here, and I'm going to hit T, and I'm going to drag this over a little bit like that and kind of give it some more texture, maybe flip it around like so. I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to erase over here so I don't have the crease of that texture like that. And that looks pretty neat, you know, kind of adds just a little bit, and you can see it totally looks like that Lannister gold, you know, that high quality precious metal. I think it looks pretty neat. So I'm gonna leave the text like that. I might even actually just duplicate it one more time, get some texture right here on this E. And that looks pretty cool. But now we're gonna move on to our lion real quick, and it doesn't actually take that much to do this. I'm going to real quick just double click this harsher texture that I've got going here. I'm gonna hit Control L, and I'm gonna make this one more dramatic as well, just to get those deep scratch lines going in there. And I'm gonna hit OK. Control A to select my canvas again. Control C to copy, and then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to, you can either select the item here like so, or you could use like a selection tool or whatever. I think that it's way better and more accurate to hold Control and click the image of a layer when selecting everything on that layer. And I'm going to say Control-Shift-Alt-V to paste into once again. And I'm going to move this up like so, rotate it around just a little bit, and then I'm going to find a good blending mode for this for this piece. Let's see, what can we do? That one doesn't look so bad, the soft light. The overlay looks pretty cool, but it's a little harsh over the face, so we might want to piece this around. And what I mean by that is we can kind of drag it, you know, like so. And then I like to kind of erase bits and duplicate, you know, and then find another way to place this, maybe on a different blending mode altogether. That one actually looked pretty cool, but I'm gonna remove some of this down here. And then I do that again. I just kind of repeat and repeat until I find kind of a sweet spot, if you will, to make the texture look like it's supernatural, you know, well, not supernatural, but to make it look very natural, like this, you know, this texture is really wearing down on this lion. And I think normally I would spend a lot more time on this, kind of really trying to make it look very detailed, like it really belongs. I don't have all the time in the world this morning, so I'll probably fiddle with it a little bit more outside of the stream and post my final project in the Discord. But that's basically how I would go about it. You know, kind of creating a pretty cool battle-worn lion there. And finally, I would probably add maybe a little frame. I've saved this because it's a pretty good size compared to my my project here. And because the background is white, I'm gonna find a good blending mode to throw this on. Most likely overlay could work or soft light could work. But let's see, there should be a much better one to work with here. I'm going to flip through my blending modes till I find one that I like, just to add a pretty, there we go. There's divide, looks pretty good. I'm going to put that underneath everything and just kind of adds like a little bit more pizzazz. But there we go. So I can't wait to see what you guys make. Definitely post your stuff into the Discord if you can. I'm gonna save mine here and put it in Discord right now. Let's see, I'm gonna call this Items of Winterfell, like so. Boom, saved it as a PSD, but now I wanna save it as a JPEG as well. Here we go. Boom. And then I'm going to head over to Discord and I'm going to post it for you guys to check it out. If you don't have the Discord URL, you guys can find it up here. bit.ly/psdiscord is the link. And then I am going to, let's see, pan over here. If you click this little plus button right here next to the chat apparatus down at the bottom there, it will pull up your file where you can navigate to where you have put your project. And then you'll be able to upload it. I'm gonna say, here is my entry for today. Boom. And then I'm gonna upload it. And there we go. Like I said, I can't wait to see what you guys do. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. If you don't want to do a Game of Thrones inspired thing, you guys can do your own type of deal. But I would be interested to see what kind of items you guys choose for all of the different houses, if you guys are Game of Thrones fans. But yeah, dang, I'm like, no worries, Roman. You can always catch the replays. I'm glad that you came in here at the tail end. It's been a blast. I appreciate you all for joining me. Please stay tuned because we've got an awesome Photoshop segment coming up right after me. And then Melody's going to be jumping in here and doing the XD Daily Creative Challenge. So all you UI, UX folks out there who are looking to learn a bit more about XD, definitely turn in for that. And then at the very end of the day, we're going to close out with an XD UI, UX stream segment. And then we will be ending for the day. Huxley, good to see you. David, good to see you. Gerard, hello. No problem, guys. It's my pleasure. I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning for our final challenge. All right, everyone? Adios, folks.